The thing is, a lot of people are asking questions about the Navy Fed new LLC business line of credit. So in today's conversation, I want to share with you 5 new ways to get guaranteed approval real fast. So the foundation of this conversation is you have a new LLC and you are trying to get a business line of credit from Navy Federal. So I'm going to share with you 5 hacks, 5 new ways to get guaranteed approval real fast. Don't you go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great and blessed as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's conversation, we want to address how to get a business line of credit for a new LLC. And we are going to give you 5 new ways that you can guarantee approval real fast. But before I get into the nitty-gritty, please allow me to give you an overview, because I want to contextualize to this conversation. What are we really talking about? Business line of credit from Navy Fed 101. So this is this is credit, business credit you can use for a lot of things, for unexpected expenses, for working capital, for inventory, among other things. Okay, and the thing is that it's a revolving line of credit for operational purposes, and the line starts at $35,000. Okay, so the minimum is $35,000. In our experience with Navy Fed for the last 30 years, we have seen people getting business line of credit all the way to $1 million. Okay, but you don't get this if you're a new LLC. You have to be an established business. Okay, the thing you have to understand is that this business line of credit has to be secured. In other words, you have to pledge collateral that is amenable, that is acceptable to Navy Fed, so that they can agree to give you the cash. And so this business line of credit ordinarily is great for established businesses. However, as a new LLC, you can actually get it, not a problem. We have done it over and over and over in the last 30 years, so we know exactly what we're talking about. You can use the cash for a lot of things, but there is a way to actually apply. Okay, and you will need a constellation of documents to get to get approved, including a completed and signed business loan application. Okay, business plan, personal tax returns for all owners, guarantors for the most recent 2 years. They want to have projected financial statements, balance sheet, profit and loss, accounts receivable, accounts payable, aging reports, debt schedule for the last 2 years. Now, if you are a new LLC, we are speaking about what? Projected. So projected, we have a prospective approach. We don't have a retrospective approach. Okay, so you don't have an AR, AP aging reports because you are new, right? But you also need to have a personal financial statements for all owners and guarantors. You got to have proof of collateral. Now, the list I'm actually giving you right now is not exhaustive, because based on your LLC and the sector you're in, Navy Fed might ask you more information. Now, let me talk to you about the 5 elements, the 5 ways you can actually secure this Navy Fed business line of credit for your new LLC. The first thing is, boss, I want you to be legit. You have a new LLC. Okay, I agree. Okay, no problem. Are you legit? Because the thing is, you think you are legit, but my question is, do you have all the business licenses and permits? Or do you have a certificate of good standing? Do you have a registered agent? Do you have a business bank account with Navy Fed or another lender or another institution? Those are important elements, because you want to make sure that you don't run afoul of any regulations and rules at the federal, state, and local level. Okay, this is really important because Navy Fed is going to look at your business as a whole and identify what kind of risk you may pose to their business when they actually extend the business line of credit to you. So when we talk about tough government regulations of business, are you complying with the tax code in terms of filing your income taxes personally, but also business-wise? Do you have the right legal structure? You are an LLC, okay. What have you elected to file as a federal income tax filer? Are you filing federal-wise? I mean, federally. Are you filing as an S corp, as a C corp? Are you filing as a sole proprietorship? So those are very important questions to have, okay? And you also have to make sure that you actually abide by rules in terms of advertising. Do you have an EIN? You got to have those things. So I'm just giving you here a non-exhaustive list of things that if you have questions, you can just drop them below. We'll definitely answer you, because every sector and every state has their own regulations. So we'll be able to, if you tell us where you were actually tapping from or whatever, we'll tell you exactly what kind of rules and regulations will make your business a legit business. Bottom line is, you got to have articles of organization. You got to have a certificate of good standing. You got to have a registered agent. You got to have an EIN. If you're hiring employees, you want to make sure that you actually comply with payroll taxes and so on and so forth. Very important. If you don't, Navy Fed will reject your business line of credit application. No questions asked. The second way to actually guarantee approval is to have a catalog of tax returns. Okay, so you have a new LLC, so you have not filed yet tax returns for the business. Okay, so we want to zero in on your personal tax returns. Now, if you are a single member LLC, that's only you, right? But if you're a multi-member LLC, so we want to make sure that we have personal tax returns for all the owners and guarantors. Okay, so we're speaking about 1040s. If those guarantors and owners if they are partners in other companies, we want to pay attention to their Schedule K1, to their schedules K1 also. So the thing is, this is multidimensional. Navy Fed is not just analyzing your tax returns just unidimensionally. They are doing a multi-dimensional analysis, looking at the implications, because the whole thing is they're trying to cover their ass, right? They're just trying to cover their ass. They are trying to mitigate risk. They're trying to mitigate default risk. So the thing is that they want to make sure that all the implications, that all the entities in which the owners are involved in, all those entities are really, they have undergone due diligence, proper due diligence. Okay, this is very important. So when we talk about filing tax returns, Navy Fed wants to make sure that you are current in your obligations as a citizen and as a business entity to file your tax returns. That's why they pay attention to the last 2 years. So this is very important. Okay, so and the thing is that they also want to look at your personal tax returns to see what kind of tax brackets you're in. Okay, so there are a lot of benefits for filing personal tax returns anyway, not just to please Navy Fed. No, I mean, because there are penalties if you don't file, right? You have late filing penalty, you have late payment penalty. So those are things you definitely don't want to have to deal with the IRS at all. Okay, so the bottom line is, if you want to accelerate approval of your business line of credit for your new LLC in Navy Fed, make sure that you are current on your personal tax returns. The third way to accelerate your approval with this business line of credit is to pay attention to collateral. I think I've said before that, Navy Fed is not going to give you money that is not collateralized. I mean, they're trying to cover their ass. So listen, you got to collateralize the line of credit, okay? And I don't care how you do it, but you need to find that collateral. If you don't have it, don't even apply, because they are going to deny your ass like crazy. Okay, so the thing is, if you don't have the collateral, you want to look at the other partners in the LLC. If we are speaking about a multi-member LLC, then you want to ask everybody around, hey, listen, do you have a house you want to pledge? Do you have a car? Do you have inventory? Are you involved in other companies whereby you want to pledge the inventory of that company or those companies, for example? But you got to find those assets. And those assets, remember, they have to be acceptable to NaviFed. Because simply because you have assets doesn't mean that they were actually will be like, okay, kumbaya, blah, 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 come over here. Let's have coffee, whatever. We just approve your business line of credit. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it's more complicated. I mean, the thing is, they pay attention. They appraise the collateral to make sure that the value of the collateral it really makes sense. So you can use a lot of assets as collateral. For example, real property. Okay, you can use business inventory. You can use accounts receivable. You can use cash savings or deposits. This is important, and what I want to say here is that, again, we are speaking about a new LLC, which means the LLC itself has no assets unless the founders have actually invested assets into the business. In other words, they bought equipment, they bought machinery with their own money, and they were willing to pledge that equipment or inventory or machinery to actually secure the business line of credit. So when we talk about this hack is really important, because if you want to speed up the approval process, just make sure you have valuable assets. Don't have like some cheap ass machinery or some cheap ass equipment, and you're trying to secure the business line of credit with it. No, because NaviFed has a team of very sophisticated appraisers who have a clear idea of what your asset is worth, no matter your industry. They've been doing this thing for so many years. They have vast experience you cannot imagine. Let us talk about financials. So we are still having a conversation here about how to apply successfully for a business line of credit from NaviFed if you are a new LLC, right? So let's talk about your financials, boss. The thing is that you don't have actual results. You don't have actual data, right? You don't have actual financial statements. That's not a problem. This is not a problem. You can have projected financial statements. The thing is, I'm not asking you to have like some kind of crazy, unrealistic numbers though. Your assumptions must be realistic. Okay? You want to have the proper disclosure so that when NaviFed reads your financial statements, they have a clear idea of where you come from, where you are, and where you're going. Okay, so when we talk about financial statements, usually they just want to have 4 main financial statements. A lot of folks make the mistake of saying, hey, listen, if you have 3 financial statements, you are good to go. No, you are not good to go, because NaviFed wants to make sure that you provide financial statements that are in accordance with something called US GAAP. Okay, it's not a gap in the US. It's not a hole in the US. US GAAP just means United States generally accepted accounting principles. So basically you want to have, this is a set of rules, a set of financial reporting rules, accounting and financial reporting rules that govern business financial reporting in the United States. Okay, and a lot of countries around the world they really adopt US GAAP. So NaviFed wants you to do the same thing. They want you to do the same thing. So a set of financial statements in accordance with US GAAP must have a balance sheet, an income statement, a cash flow statement, and a statement of owner's equity. Sometimes they say a statement of retained earnings, but it's really a statement of owner's equity. Okay, so but those must be projected because you don't have actual data yet. Okay, and so when we talk about the elements of financial statements, balance sheet has assets, liabilities, shareholders' equity. Income statement, you're going to have revenue, expenses, and net income. Cash flow statements, you're going to have a trifecta, what we call the trifecta. You're going to have 3 categories here. You're going to have cash flows from operating activities, cash flow from investing activities, and cash flows from financing activities. Okay, and so the thing here is that the 4 types of financial statements that I just talked about, they can be internally prepared. Okay, they can be externally prepared. You can outsource it. You can prepare it through software, through accounting software, Facebook and whatnot, or you can have it done by someone on the Fiverr, on TopTal, or whatever. My point is, if what I'm saying, You have no idea what I'm talking about. It just means that you are not, this is not your thing. This is why you should outsource the whole thing. But you need to have financials if you want to get approval from Navy Fed. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm just having a conversation right now about new LLC, Navy Federal Business Line of Credit. How do you actually, I'm sharing with you 5 things you can do right now to win approval. And I'm talking about fast approval, okay? The 5th thing is that we are speaking about Navy Fed banking. You know, it's really, really important. First of all, you got to have Navy Fed banking to qualify for business membership, okay? Basically, you need to be an individual member. All the founders of the company must be individual members, and then you have to parlay that membership at the personal level into a business membership. Which means what? It means that your personal membership must be in good standing. So if you're trying to fool around and just doing stuff with Navy Fed at the personal level, you're not going to qualify for business membership. For example, if you are running like NSF events, non-sufficient funds, aka overdraft, trying to play around and having a bunch of overdrafts, you're not going to qualify. You may not qualify for business membership. That's why we say that you have to be financially responsible in anything you do with Navy Fed or at any other financial institution for that matter. Okay. So having said that, so given that it is mandatory to have an FCU banking, to have an FCU bank account, the thing is, it's not about just having one account. You want to diversify the number of accounts you have. And I'm speaking about at the personal level and at the business level. Why? Because what's going to happen is, logically, if you are a new LLC, Navy Fed is going to look at your personal experience with them. They're going to look at your personal fundamentals because your business has not gotten the time to establish itself and to prove itself as a recommendable, as a reputable entity. So Navy Fed is going to zero in on your personal credentials. Okay, do you have a good FICO score? Are you financially responsible? Are you running a bunch of overdrafts, or are you clean? Do you have a check systems record? Those are important elements, okay? And when we talk about beefing up your banking relationship with Navy Fed, we are speaking about what we call the quintet. The quintet that really matters. The 5 things that matter: checking accounts, savings accounts, certificate of deposits, money market accounts, IRAs. Those constitute what we call the quintet of a strong relationship, a strong banking relationship. Either it is with Navy Fed or another lender, it doesn't really matter. Now, let me give you a winner strategy here. If you are trying to get a business line of credit from Navy Fed for your new LLC or for an established LLC, there are a few things I want you to do. First of all, you really got to decide how much funding you need. Okay, this is really important because you are new. Nobody knows you. We have no idea of your revenue, and you're just walking around and say, I want $1 million. For what? First of all, you haven't proven yourself. Your business has not established itself, and you're just walking around asking for money. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get it. So first, you need to decide how much money you need. You have to be realistic. Okay? Meaning like, okay, you're a new business. You're probably looking for 35 grand or 40 grand or 50 grand. Don't ask for too much. I mean, it's like, listen, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be asking for more if it is needed, if it is substantiated. What I'm trying to tell you here is that don't be a greedy ass and asking for a lot of money that you don't really need or don't know how to manage. Okay, and then you want to check your eligibility. So everything should happen at a branch. Navy Fed says you can actually print out the application and just mail it to them, or just upload it internally to their servers. But if you want to increase your chances of approval, please go to a branch. You want to research and compare lenders. Maybe Navy Fed is not the right lender for you at this time. I mean, nobody's perfect. They probably have the flaws too. They have the pros and cons. So if Navy Fed is not good for you, you want to look elsewhere. As a matter of fact, there are other credit unions that could be better candidates. For example, CCU, Consumers Credit Union. Maybe they have a better line of credit for you. Okay, so it's all about or Connexus. So it's all about just researching your options, and you want to gather the required information. By the way, you can also go for online lenders when it comes to institutions. For example, Blue Vine is a top business line of credit provider. You have Cabbage, for example. Okay, you have Fundbox. You have Lendio, which is a marketplace, but you get the gist. And gather the required information, okay? And once you gather everything, please go to a branch and submit your application, okay? And it's just better to do it that way. You can always do it online, don't get me wrong. But yeah, now turnaround times vary based on the timing of the year. Sometimes Navy Fed is really busy. It also depends on how busy folks are at the branch where you basically are at. Okay, very important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about Navy Federal business line of credit for a new LLC, and I share with you 5 elements, 5 ways you can get approved real fast. You can get approved like really fast. So I give you an overview. So the 5 ways are: trying to prove legitimacy, your tax returns are important, get collateral, prepare financials, and beef up your NFCU banking. And I give you a winner strategy that you can apply at any time. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.